Hello, everyone. This is Ronnie, and I'm here today with Tyler. We're just gonna shoot the shit and see what Tyler's been up to. What's up, brother? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. Just trying to do what I can every day.
That's a good thing. Definitely is a good thing. So, what you been up to lately?
Just right now with the virus going on in our state being kind of hit pretty hard compared to other states, I'm just going to my warehouse 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, doing all my online orders for my store and then for my eBay and Amazon accounts because our the mall closed down. I think it was the 15th of March, 18th of March. They closed our brick and mortar store down, and so I've been trying to do everything online right now, and connecting with a lot of the people on Instagram and doing mystery boxes and a bunch of other stuff, and it's still going really well. Sales have actually been up on eBay and Amazon because everybody's stuck at home shopping right now, and actually doing quite well just because I don't have to go out and shop now and because usually spending a couple hundred to a couple thousand a week on inventory, and now it's just like I'm kind of finally just stockpiling the money for a while. It's been kind of nice.
It definitely is weird. Not like our sales were not really that bad for April. I was like, what month are we in? For April, they weren't that bad. But I did just get a 3-day suspension for some item that was listed.
Whoa.
It was like I just figured it out today. Somebody messaged me, another person a friend I talked to here and there, and he's like, "You got nothing on your nothing on no listings on your eBay. What's going on?" And I'm like, "Huh." They start reading through my email messages, and I'm like, "I didn't read that properly. Totally missed it." I was like, "Okay,
Wow.
take a 3-day
And,
vacation, I guess."
and to take your store down for 3 days, like that's
Yeah,
pretty crazy.
supposedly for this a polo, a Ralph Lauren polo golf polo shirt. Like
That
it's
seems
worth doing
so
golf
standard.
last year. They're like, "This is a replica," and I'm like, "No, it's not a replica." But hey, it's sold. Then I got hit with the claim right after it sold. I was like, "Oh, okay, that's interesting. Who
It's
knew?"
still weird that they would just like suspend you for 3 days. I just think that their whole system is just messed up. I had a thing on Amazon the other day. I dropped off a pair of shoes that sold, and they never got checked in at the post office. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird. So I'm like, all right, I'll just kind of wait. And the person messaged me like a week later, like, hey, I never got these shoes. Went and checked the tracking, and it still didn't upload. It said it was still waiting basically to get dropped off, and I went and talked to my postmaster, and she was saying that they were experiencing some system failures and a bunch of other stuff. She's like, just tell them that we're doing the best that we can during this time, and to reassure them that it's on the way. And so I sent that to him, and the person was still getting aggravated with it, and they ended up opening an A to Z claim on Amazon, and Amazon just went and like they processed it like super quick, and then I said my piece about it, and they granted it in um, favor of the buyer just because the post office never uploaded the tracking, and it was like 2 weeks out, and so they're probably going to get the product, and they got their money back. So it's just been a bit of a hassle, and you try to call them and you can't really get a hold of them to try to get good customer support. And they are saying that they're doing stuff to protect sellers during this time because they know that there's a lot of problems, but I'm not really seeing it happen.
Yeah, Amazon is definitely a whole different beast than eBay. eBay, like, there's a little assistance. Amazon, there's like no assistance. Like, because I've ran into like one A to Z claim, but just other return issues and stuff like that are just like totally buyer heavy. They protect the buyer at all costs. They're like,
Yeah.
nope. They could send you back the wrong item. They could send you back anything. And they're like, or not even send something back. If you do like FBA, they'll send something and they don't even get it back, and they're refunding people. And it's like, oh yeah, they got to return it in 45 days. I'm like, what?
Yeah. It is nice though that they I don't know how long ago they did this, but they have a safety claim that you can fill out. Like if somebody, I've had to do it a couple of times where I sent something to somebody brand new, and they sent it back open, and it was used product now, and I was able to file a claim, and then sometimes you can get like a restocking fee and charge them, so you get some kind of compensation back for it. It doesn't always work, but it's a little something that they've provided that I've used a couple of times.
That's definitely a good thing. Well, why don't we rewind here a little bit, and we can let people know basically who you are and a little bit more about yourself, and where you are and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, my name's Tyler, and I started on YouTube back in June of 2011. I actually did have a reselling channel. That's how I met Ronnie. And I was back when all the older guys were on there. There was remember the Trash Talk and Treasures show and Marion Springs Pickers and all those, yeah, Dallas Moore, Bill Stoner, all those guys that most of them don't do videos anymore. Mike Franco was around during that time and a bunch of other people. And so I did a few hundred videos for a while. I started off doing videos with my roommate in college. We kind of started in our dorm room. And then I ended up getting a degree in business and just kept doing the reselling thing because it was working and just kept working up the ladder. And a couple years later, actually, like I think that the fall after I graduated college, I ended up going full time. And then a couple years later, I built a warehouse on one of my dad's pieces of property that he owns. And so I have like a 3,000 square foot warehouse that I operate out of for my online sales. And then just last year, actually this May will be May 3rd will be our 1 year anniversary for my store. It's called Rewind. We're located in the Birch Run Premium Outlets Mall. And it's a vintage and retro / hype store. We sell anything from 80s and 90s clothes to brand new Jordan retros, Supreme, Palace, Bape, all kinds of stuff. It's a 3,000 square foot store that we have there in the mall, and we were doing really well. And then this coronavirus just kind of halted us, and we were looking forward to having a really good summer, but right now, the mall is working with us. They've actually waived our rent during this time while the virus is making its way through Michigan, and we're looking forward to opening up sometime in May if the governor will allow us. But just moved everything to online. Been interacting with our customers through Instagram. So if anybody wants to check out the store, it's at RewindMI on Instagram, and we do a bunch of stuff on there. So it's been quite a journey from my dorm room to where I am at today, to say the least.
It definitely is a interesting journey. I wish you would have documented it a little bit more. I guess
Me too.
Talk to you every once in a while, and I could also see what's going on online with what's going on in your life and how you're doing, and I'm like always like, oh, it's making some moves right there.
Yep. Yeah. When I had a chance, I just wasn't going to hesitate. I was just going to take it. And if, I'd rather try it and fail than to live in regret. And that's kind of how I've treated my reselling business since I graduated. And it's really, really paid off. I mean, there's still a few things that I regret along the way, but the major decisions that I've done, I don't really regret, and it has paid off.
That's a good thing. I mean, I think sometimes the fear of doing something, if it's maybe going full time or renting a different space or even trying a different platform, kind of gets in the way of growth sometimes. And sometimes you just got to make a calculated decision, not like you have $5 in your pocket, let's let's do this. Like if it makes sense and you figure out the math and have a little bit of a business plan, you don't need to have like this thing like you're applying for a Fortune 500 job, but as long as sometimes you narrow it in and get it squared away, it works.
Exactly.
You sell on all different sites though, other than even the brick and mortar store. You also sell on eBay and Amazon. Do you sell on, like, Etsy and stuff like that, or?
I did for a little while, but what was happening was I was listing my stuff first on eBay, and it was selling on eBay before I could even get it on Etsy. So I'm like, what's the point of cross listing? And it just seemed like it was more of a bit of a pain to do that, and just just monotonous, and it wasn't very fun to do that. So I decided to just kind of focus. On a couple of things. So I heard a quote one time: "You win at what you focus on," and I just saw it was stretching me a little too thin, and so I'm like, I'd rather just focus more energy on eBay and building that up, and Amazon. And then at the time I was getting ready to build this to get the store going. I'd actually been talking about getting a store since I was in college, so it actually took a few years for this concept to evolve, and I did things over the years to prepare for it. I was putting inventory away. I was taking part of whatever I was finding each week, like a small percentage of it, and boxing it up and putting it in storage. So when the time came that I was able to open the store, I already had enough inventory to fill the store at least once. And the store has grown so much in just 1 year, and I really look forward to what it's going to be like a year from now.
Yeah, we had a question from Mr. Sadie here asking, how is Nate doing?
Nate is he's doing well. He ended up moving back to the Jackson area where we went to college. He's married, just got a new house last fall, moved back into town. He was out in the country, and he's working as a full-time social worker, and then does reselling as kind of like a hobby type thing. So he doesn't sell a whole lot. He's got maybe like 15 to 25 listings up, but he does it just in his spare time, and he still loves it. Wishes he could do more of it, but um, he just doesn't have enough time to devote a whole lot to it.
I wonder if I always, because I like jumped right into this full time. I wonder if I would still be, if I didn't, because I just walked out of the restaurant job I have. I just didn't want to be there anymore after we had an argument. Just April went flying. I was like, I'm done. But I've done this so often. I did it like a lot leading up to that year. Like I did it like 2 months before that. I was just getting to the end of my rope with that. But I wonder if I stayed, would I have pushed eBay harder at the time? Because like it was getting kind of stressful, because I was trying to have like 400 or 500 things up on eBay and then working like 50, 60, 70 hours a week. It was hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Easy.
actually, it took me a little while, but as I was getting ready to build the warehouse, ended up finding a buddy of mine who was still living in the area, and he actually he works for me now. He's actually his girlfriend's down in Texas, so he's actually was able to sneak on down there before the strict restrictions came to Michigan, and so he's kind of hanging out down there, collecting unemployment and stuff like that. I just wanted to kind of take a break, and so I've been working in the warehouse because he basically ran that whole thing. I would just supply him with inventory once or twice a week. I would drop things off over there to him, and he would do the whole thing from start to finish. I actually, up until like last week, I started taking pictures for eBay listings for the first time in like almost 3 years. So we had a really good system going on. Unfortunately, with the lockdowns and everything happening, and not that way now. But I do have more time to work on it now. Now that the store's closed.
That's good in a way. That's the one thing I hate though, is taking pictures of things. I don't know what it is. It's the one thing I just do not care for whatsoever. It's the one job if I could subcontract that job out or get the wife to do it, because the wife is home now. I think she'll be home for the summer at this rate, because I think they're trying to get her city not to fly like flights from it. And then I don't know, they like canceled the flights to like Fort Lauderdale. So And they think they're only taking flights from Boston at the moment. But they, instead of doing she works for JetBlue, so they have that like I forgot the name of the jets, but they have carried like 100 people. They're trying to do like 9 passenger jets at the moment, and it's like, oh, that's a big difference
Wow.
because they have to keep it open. So I guess they can't close them all at the moment, but they're trying to stay because nobody's flying. So
Yeah.
so it's crazy. They gave her like a bunch of different things, like you could stay home and get half your salary and be on call or this or that. So it's definitely a lot of people are out of work at the moment. So it's definitely a interesting time, definitely to be in. Hopefully, everything will start opening back up and people can get back to life. Summer's here.
Yeah.
Can't wait. I love summer. Like get out of the wintry cold in Massachusetts.
Yeah, we still had snow like last week. It was crazy. But we'll have like snow one day, then it'll be like 70 degrees the next.
My
It's
parents
just up and down.
had snow too. They're in upstate New York. And they had snow, and I was like, oh, they had snow a few, like multiple days this month. It's like this month's
Same
been
here.
kind of like not a lot of snow, but we the last 2 winters we really lucked out. I don't think we've had over 3 inches of snow where we are for the last 2 winters, like in any snowfall. It's been very, very light, which is good, but it's still windy and still chilly, and you get all that kind of chaos from living on the ocean. But we've got a lot of different people in the chat, Mr. Sadie and Georgina, and from the UK. We got some UK people in here. Couple pickers, Nurse Flipper, Tommy Bernard. If anybody has any questions or anything, let us know. But it's just good catching up with you and everything. I mean, you were talking about it before. Marion Spring Pickers were my favorite YouTube channel to watch. I enjoyed those guys so much.
Yeah, they're not far from me. I only live like about 40 to 50 minutes away from them. I run into them every now and again. I'll see them at an auction or see them at an estate sale, and it's always cool to catch up with those guys. So they're a hoot. I wish they would have at least kept their videos up, but they just decided enough was enough, and they just wanted to focus on building their business, and so they just ran with it.
Yeah, they definitely, like most people, I mean, they just found some interesting stuff. It was just like crazy. I remember they had a whole bus filled with like service manuals for cars. They got the bus and everything for like $2,000. Like, oh shit! You'd be listening to that stuff for forever.
Yeah, and Neil was a hoot too. It's a shame, like I said, that they don't have the videos up, because I think a lot of people nowadays would really still get some valuable information out of the stuff that they were talking about. They were more like on the antique, kind of like you like the old signs, gas station memorabilia, that kind of stuff. They were farm estate sales and auctions and stuff was their bread and butter.
Yeah, I think that's why I really was drawn to their channel in a way, because it was more stuff that I was interested in, and we had some knowledge in and stuff like that. But we got sucked into clothing because of the area of the country we live in. It's just abundant to find, pretty decent clothing. It's like you can't just pass it up. Once you learn it, it's available. It makes good money. Like, okay,
Yeah.
Stick with that for now. I didn't have any idea I would still be doing this 6 years later, or 8 years later. Because in the beginning we didn't do that. We were more Amazon and more what the kids call now hard goods.
Yeah, hard goods.
I mean, like, we didn't call it hard goods back then.
Yeah.
Called it whatever it was, cookware, video hard goods. You either selling clothing, selling video games, or you selling hard goods.
You're selling hard goods.
Catch me on the corner. Well, you selling hard goods.
Seems like there's a lot more people doing it, especially like on Instagram. There's a lot of like young people going out and doing the like clothing reselling now. It's like I just see all my competition like on Instagram now.
Well, I think that's
It's
where
kind of crazy.
a lot of the younger people I think are on Instagram. Like on
Hmm.
eBay, I think is the more like if I look at my channel demographic, it's all like there's a few between like 25 and 34, but it's all 35 to 64 range, and it's like all equally spread out through those like 20% each or something, 18 to 22%. It's a lot of people my age technically, which I'm in my early 40s, so it's all my peoples, I guess, people from my generation.
Yeah, and they got their own platforms too. It's just like a lot of them are selling on Depop and Grailed and places like that, and it's just like they're nice platforms. I've looked into selling on those, but I just like I said before, I don't want to stretch myself too thin. Maybe I might be able to make a few more dollars over there, but I'd rather just keep it simple so I can build it up faster.
Yeah, Grailed. I tried Grailed for a little while. I tried Poshmark. Grail, the biggest thing was just they would send you an offer, you would accept the offer, but then nobody followed through with the offers. I guess they changed that now though, but it was just a pain in the ass when that happens. You think it's like having eBay's best offer, but on steroids in a way, where nobody
Yeah,
pays. It's like, come on, seriously, people, let's go, let's get with the program. And Poshmark, it made me feel like I'm a drug dealer. My phone was beeping every 2 seconds. It was like, seriously, not selling crack in Harlem. Cut this out. Like, I just can't. I couldn't wrap my head around the whole thing of sharing. It's a younger generation for that too, I guess.
yeah. Do you ever use the platform StockX at all?
Um, I've looked into it. I've never done anything with it. I've bought some shoes off of it, but I've never listed any on there.
Yeah, I've had really good experiences using it. For those of you that don't know, StockX mainly sells like high end fashion stuff, sneakers, streetwear, and it's really cool because they are kind of like the middleman in a sense. So like if I'm selling like a high end pair of sneakers and it's highly faked and everything. So what happens is that they they have people who bid on the items, and they you can either accept the person's like lowest ask, or you can place a bid on an item. And as a seller, you can like if somebody's offering like, hey, I'm willing to pay $500 for that pair of shoes, you can accept their offer right away, and sell the item, and then they'll give you a prepaid label, and you send it to one of their like fulfillment centers. They'll get it and they'll legit check it and make sure that it's 100% authentic, and then they'll send it off to your customer, and they tag it with like a special tag that they have, and they send like a basically a sheet. This has been authenticated by one of our experts. So it just makes the buyer and the seller just feel more at ease about the whole thing, instead of going on eBay, buying something, finding out it's fake, and then having to file a case to get your money back. And it's just a much easier platform to use. I mean, they've still had their share of little problems, but overall, it's still a good platform, and I've had no problems using them at all.
I did notice that when I was looking at the platform because I was interested in it, but I never really got into it. Like at one point, I was like looking for shoes on there, seeing what they sell for, and then going on to eBay and going, okay, where can I make some money over here? You could have them, you know, kind of buy them off eBay. You know what somebody's willing to pay on StockX. So, but I never really followed it up. I was looking for a specific 4 or 5 different pairs of shoes. Did it for a week and kind of just lost interest in it. It's something I'll possibly. I was going to look into it more, but I just never got around to it.
I just saw in the comments too, somebody mentioned about Goat. Another good app. I haven't started using it yet. I know on there you can sell stuff without the box. On StockX, it has to be pretty much in like the condition you bought it from. Like if you were to sell like a pair of Nikes, like you bought it off the shelf. Box can't be damaged. They can't be worn or anything, because they do have like special UV light and stuff like that that they'll actually shine in the shoe to see if there's like footprints that were made, imprints into the soles. And I've had people who have had shoes like that sent back because somebody just tried them on, even though they were like a brand new shoe and it was tried on at the store. It was still tried on, and to them, they don't see it as a genuine, brand new, unused product, and they'll send it back. So, but Goat will allow you to sell used things and stuff without the box.
I gotta check in the Goat. That's one I thought about, but I've never even looked at like the website.
And they allow you to take pictures too of the item. They'll tell you like certain ways that they want you to take the pictures of the shoe or whatever it is you're selling. StockX, they basically just have a generic photo on there, and they're just hoping that you're sending them the correct product, but they don't actually ask any of the sellers to send any pictures to them. It's just when they give you the label, you just send it to them and they take it from there.
Yeah, StockX was kind of like, I remember when I was starting to look into it, I was like, "Yo, this is interesting," especially with all the Supreme stuff. Because a few years ago, I loved buying all the stuff off of Supreme. Now it seems like I have a really hard issue with everybody with their bots and stuff like that to get kind of stuff. So I kind of lost interest in that too. But
Yeah,
you could get it, and then you could really break. You get a few different things. You break down selling the bag separately, the stickers separately.
yeah, exactly. I mean, because
things.
yeah, because like was it last fall winter season they quit doing the bags because they outlawed them in California and New York where their stores are located, so they couldn't even send the bags, the plastic store bags with your shipment anymore. So people were selling those online, but there's this year there's a few things that are still worth picking up if you can get them, but they put out in a press release that their stock, they're actually like releasing like 20 to 25% more items this year. So some stuff is still profitable, but if you get anything, you got to really flip it right away. 'Cause a lot of times, if you hold on it, it's just going to go down. Some things will go up, but there's a lot of things right now you can look on StockX and it's at or even below retail right now, and people are losing money on it.
Yeah, I think the last thing I went to buy on there was the Nas shirt. It had to be at least a year ago, if not longer.
Yeah, that would have been, I think, 17, fall winter of 17, or
Okay,
somewhere in there.
even longer than I thought. Yeah, it's been probably actually more than probably 2 years plus.
Yeah.
I just was like, "Ah, I gotta have that shirt." And I remember it was like within 30 seconds sold out. I was like, what? I was like, oh no, I'm done. I'm done. I think I got a keychains. I got a few keychains or something just to make up for the time being on the site. But I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm
They
over this.
finally did this season where they were doing, they started doing free shipping on all orders over 150 now, which they've never done that before. Because a lot of times people would go on there and they buy something real quick, and then they would, check out, and then they would keep getting charged like the $10 shipping. And now you can build a nice cart and check out at once, and then you get that free shipping now instead of $10 per item.
Oh, that's pretty cool too. Yeah, like I just haven't been on there in a while. It's like one of those things. I did it for a while and then kind of I lose interest with things quickly. Move on to something else. I don't know. I lose interest with things quickly. Like even the signs. I'll get some signs, have them in the house. I'll lose interest, sell them,
Mm-hmm.
pick up some different ones or something. Or sometimes I get rid of a sign, then I want to have it back. I'm like, oh, no, I want that sign back. I can't. Why did I get rid of that sign?
Do
But
you think, Ronnie, that this whole coronavirus thing is going to have a major impact on the reselling going forward after this whole thing opens up? I'm just kind of curious as to what your thoughts are. I've asked a few other people that same thing.
I think it's gonna work in our favor actually, because people can't go out and shop, or people gonna want to go out and shop after this happened. I think people are more inclined probably. They now, like a lot of people, I've noticed on eBay, a lot of people are very low feedback sellers buyers that I'm getting. Zero feedback, 1, 2, under 10. which, I never really used to notice that, but I've noticed it a lot more lately. I wonder if people being home, people not being able to shop. Like I said, I haven't really listed much last month, but my sales were actually basically the same as last year.
Mhm.
And I have less inventory than last year too. So it's kind of, it's been pretty decent. It's not that bad, but I think it's going to increase because people are going to get accustomed also to buying online, and especially if they have a good experiences. And hopefully, there's no shitty freaking sellers screwing that up for us. That they'll want to continue, purchasing stuff on eBay, or maybe it's people that for the hmm, for the first time they get to buy something on eBay too, or it's something that they didn't think about, and maybe we're getting some younger people on the platform. eBay, I think, has a harder time connecting with that under 35 crowd. It's all eBay's mobile app is a little clumsy. It's not the greatest. As others like Poshmark has a pretty decent mobile app compared to eBay. You think eBay would get their shit together? So much bigger of a company, but they drag their feet sometimes doing things.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see when things start opening up if a lot of stores, retail stores, not necessarily thrift stores, but retail stores, if they're going to be doing like stuff heavily discounted, just so they can get some cash flow and start to move some of that stuff around, get their supply chains going again, start to empty out some of their warehouses where a lot of this stuff that they're paying to have stored. Right now, I was talking to a friend of mine. He thinks that's kind of where it might be going. And we were also kind of talking about too if there was any stores that we thought were kind of like on their way out. And I'm not really 100% sure. I haven't really been checking on what companies are actually doing not that well financially. I'm sure we're going to lose a few retailers when this opens back up, but it's hard to tell. The longer it goes on, the more we're going to lose.
Yeah, I have what's one of the department stores were filing for the Neiman Markets, I think, was filing for bankruptcy.
Well, I know Barney's New York filed for something back before this whole thing started, and they were kind of merging with like Saks Fifth Avenue. And then I also was hearing some people chattering about Macy's starting to close down some of their stores, not necessarily going out of business, but just starting to kind of downsize a little bit.
I know I know Macy's was closing a bunch of stores near us. So yeah, Neiman Markets that's going bankrupt basically. So that means I don't think they're a huge department store, but they do have a number, stores, and they do sell a lot of higher end goods. So that is quite interesting. I mean, that we could see more because also, you got to think about the gap in clothing coming from China and stuff like that that was made. China was shut down for a little while, so I
Yeah,
would think over the next few months there might be a shortage of stuff. Because they're probably on backlog and the time it takes stuff to come over here.
yep,
It would be interesting to see how that affects. And like you were talking about stores being closed. I didn't really think about this to a second ago. No, like a lot of stores still had sweaters, winter jackets, all this stuff. They probably didn't even get to the point where they were trying to clearance that stuff out or just about to.
yeah.
And then now, I mean, they're going to be pushing into mid to end of May, most places. By the time this gets back on, they're going to be probably trying to run that stuff out the door. So, I mean, it may be a good opportunity to go out there and find some deals on some winter stuff. I mean, you may have to hold it for a few months, but it is winter in some parts of the world.
Yeah, exactly, and especially if they just want to free up the space and get some cash flow going. I know, like my Nike store, um, this early spring, it was like got a late shipment of like winter puffer coats, and my buddy was telling me that works there. He's like, yeah, we got like 100 boxes of these in storage, and they were there when they shut down. So I'm like, I wonder what they're gonna do with them now because they were like jackets at retail for like $150 to $250. They were taking up a lot of space for them. So I wonder if they're either going to send them back to another warehouse just because they want to get make room for more of the spring stuff, or they're just gonna just dump them basically.
Yeah, it'd be definitely interesting. They were talking about in the chat, like I guess J. Crew and Gap and JC Penney's. I think JC Penney's has always been hurting. That's like those
Yeah.
stores we went to as a kid, and I swear that store when we were a kid was hurting.
Yeah. Well, just to kind of give you a little bit of context, so the mall that we're in is an outdoor mall, and when I got the keys back to my space last April, um, since from then until now, the mall has lost 9 tenants. Some local, some corporate, some because they cut back. Like Lacoste just up and pulled their store out of the blue. They were just the 1 month they were there, the next month they were gone. Corporate just decided to pull the plug on them. But then there was other stores that went bankrupt. Like Dress Barn was there; they gone. Kitchen Collection filed bankruptcy. I think there was Bare Minerals. They left. I think that was a bankruptcy thing too. And then the recent one that just left was a motherhood maternity store, but they ended up just closing all of their store locations because they wanted to go strictly online. And we lost a few others like Gymboree and a couple. There's like one other kid store that was there that left. So um, it's it's interesting to see what's going to happen once everything opens back up. I was talking to my rep from corporate the other day, and she didn't really come out and say it, but it sounds like we're going to be losing a few tenants in the mall. I'm not sure exactly who, but um, it sounded like we're going to lose a couple. So we'll have to wait and see where the dust settles.
Now, are they able to fill that with other stores, or is it kind of missing stores missing?
Well, the original part of the mall that held like 20 or so different stores, Dress Barn was the last one to leave that part of the mall. And so now they kind of like shut down that back part of the mall. The only problem is that their welcome center is back there because that was the original part of the mall. It's right along I-75. And they're looking at, before this whole thing went down, they were trying to secure investors for a $28 million sports complex that they wanted to put up that had like an indoor track, indoor soccer field, stuff like that for all the traveling leagues that come to the area. But now with the virus, that kind of shut that down. So that whole back part of the mall is empty. And there's quite a few other spots that are empty. And there was a couple tenants that were looking at coming in the mall. There's a place called the Sauce Palace. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They just sell a bunch of sauces and stuff. I've been to one. There was one in Charleston, South Carolina, right down in the French Quarter district there in town. It's a pretty cool little store. And then they're trying to put in a Sperry's, but the Sperry's just started remodeling that store, and then with the stay-at-home order in Michigan, they stopped construction, and now the store is just boarded up. So I don't even know if they're gonna continue with coming into the mall or not, but we're hoping that a few more stores leave that we can move closer to the Nike store because that's where all of our clients are going, and it's the best performing Nike store in the state. So it'd be nice to be right next to them if we can.
That is definitely a great idea, actually.
And I'm going to take advantage of it. I mean, there's other companies that are filing bankruptcy. There's nothing I can do about that, but I can definitely take advantage of the openings that are going to pop up here soon.
It's definitely it's just because I think of like our outlet mall. We have one about an hour away, and there's probably I want to say probably 100 stores in there. I could be wrong, but it has like everything, Bose and. But I haven't been there in a while. Nike, Adidas,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a Ralph Lauren. Then there's like some stores that you wouldn't even think of. Like there's a Brooks Brothers, I think, but then also like Diesel, Burberry, uh, All Saints or something. And it's weird because you'll find a lot of that stuff also makes its way to the to the thrift stores over time. It's like, oh, I never found this here before. And then they open an outlet. You start finding that stuff in the local stores quite often.
Yeah, there you go.
So it's
We
definitely,
actually have a Goodwill in our outlet mall, but because of like licensing stuff, they can't actually call it Goodwill, so they have to call it Your Fashion Secret. But it's technically a Goodwill, so they have it's you walk in, it's all the Goodwill signage. It's just basically they had to change the name because the mall wouldn't let them call it Goodwill in there. So and they get to charge more money for their stuff because they're in a mall, but it's still a Goodwill.
probably like their boutique. They send all their better stuff there or something,
It's,
maybe. I
it's
don't
mostly garbage.
know.
So it's like nobody goes to the mall to donate anything. And there's another Goodwill that's like in the next town. It's like one or two exits down the highway, and most people donate there. But yeah, that mall Goodwill is garbage. It's the back part of the mall where not many people go.
Yeah, I remember when we were at when we went to Florida, we went to some stores and then they had like the special Goodwill stores. Like, oh, and then you get in there and you see the price and you're like, holy shit, it's like $20 for every pair of shoes.
Yeah.
Or that 20. It was like then you find a good pair of shoes, it was like a shitload of money. You're like, oh hell no, I'm not paying $60 for those shoes.
Yeah, we've been noticing that a lot over in our area with the Salvation Armies. They've been even going through like the vintage like sportswear stuff and jerseys, and they have like special like boutique racks for that where they charge like 3 to 4 times what they would have normally charged in the past for things. So it's kind of different how things are evolving, and now that they with shopgoodwill.com and everything, like the one Goodwill that I like to go to, I was friends with the manager, and he would say, yeah, we sent some really cool stuff over, and he'd tell me stories of stuff that they had got in that they had to send over there, like an authentic vintage Fendi jacket and a few other things that kind of made me upset, but nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, I know our Goodwills have always had like a boutique section and it's usually nothing special. It's like a shitload of Joseph A. Bank. They'll put a lot of the women's better brands in there, like Eileen Fisher's, and I don't even go through the women's stuff really. But every once in a while, they have a habit of pricing just all cashmere sweaters like $15. You're like, oh, going through club room. Oh, Laura Piana, club room. It's like I'll take that Laura Piana. You got to charge $15 from all of them. Okay, so like they just lump everything in together at certain prices. So it's kind of I know for a while, like if I had a Saks Fifth Avenue tag and like a suit or a Nordstrom's or something like that, it was like $25 for a two-piece suit, which is not crazy, but it's like also deters you. Like 15, you probably would buy some at 25. You're like, you know, kind of looking at it differently, and especially if it's like an older suit or something like that. You kind of just like, nah, I'll pass.
Yeah, I
But
wonder if thrift stores like saw like an increase in stuff that they had to pull off the shelves to send back, because if it's sitting there through their cycles for like a month or whatever, and they got to send the person to go through the racks and pick out that color tag that's been there for a month and take it in the back. I wonder if they actually did notice a huge increase in like ragging those things out to send to whatever warehouses they send it to, because they hiked their prices up. A lot of mine around here, their racks were so full of stuff because nobody was buying it at their prices, and you could hardly even look like an inch or two at the close. You're trying to push everything back, and you're just going. It took forever to go through the racks. They just weren't selling anything at those prices.
yeah, all our stores are kind of on the smaller side. Like even into like Boston. Boston has some really small Goodwill stores where they're like 2,000 square feet or something. Some are even, yeah, probably 2,000 square feet. They're small stores. And they get full very quickly and they don't mark up too much of anything. Everything gets run basically, they can't put too much stuff aside. But our norm, and Salvation Army is pretty decent. I know the managers at both stores, so depending, if something's been sitting there a few days, maybe you can negotiate a little bit of a better price. Like, come on, what are you doing here? It's been there 3 days. Like, It's going to be Wednesday here shortly on Family Day. You want a little bit less? I'll give you a little bit more than 50%, but I'm not going to give you that full percentage. And it just depends on what it is.
Hmm.
But there's certain things that catch your eye when you first walk in your store and they hang them up on the thing. You're like, ooh, what we have over here?
Got a question in the comments here from Greta. She said, "Are you guys getting less buyer feedback during the corona?"
I've definitely noticed a lot of people with lower feedback sellers.
Yeah, I've noticed that, and then
I mean,
um,
buyers. Is it buyers?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
buyers.
So are you guys getting less buyer feedback during? I'm guessing she's asking if
Oh,
it's people leaving feedback.
leaving.
Yeah, I haven't really seen too much of a drop off. I think I checked a little while ago, and I had like 80 some feedback or something for the last a little bit. And I usually will like post my feedback as a seller. Like at the end of the month, I'll just do like the bulk thing, cause, just select however many items I sold that month and just do it all at once, instead of just going through every time something's delivered. It's just easier for me to do that.
Yeah, I think on my thing, I just have it set up that it automatically leaves feedback when they pay because it's just easier for me. And they did their part. They paid for the. There's no, I can't really feedback extortion them or anything like that. It's not like you can leave a negative for a negative like in the old days. They leave you a negative. Oh, I'm going to leave them a negative.
Yeah,
Used to be fun back then, but
yeah,
not.
it was.
There was another question here too. What was it? Oh, same lady. Um, yeah, your state hasn't opened up yet. Neither is my state. So our stores, I know for a fact, are still closed. We've been closed here now for it's over 7 weeks now. So it's almost 2 months. Or no, I've lost track, but it's been like 7 weeks.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what day our governor put the stay at home in place. It's like around the 25th or something. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, I know. Leading up to that, the stores were quiet though. Like I went out, like because it was like that Wednesday or Thursday, the president was on TV, and then they canceled basketball. And then like I went out the next day, like Friday and Saturday, and the stores were quiet. Like there was nobody in the stores, and then I think they closed them that following Wednesday. Might be 6 weeks. I might be off a week. I don't know. I think it was the 16th here.
Yeah.
I look at my calendar and stuff. Yeah. Maybe
I
it
was
was
look at here's another question that Greta asked again. It's like,
the 11th.
what will the demand for clothing and shoes be if 40% of the population either lost their job or their business?
I would think we have a better chance of selling stuff online because people are going to be looking for deals and discounts or cheaper anyway. People are not going to be buying new if they can't afford it. I think
Yeah.
it's 40% of the population is a little bit. Was it 40%? She said.
Yeah, she said if 40% of the U.S. population has either lost their job or their business.
What's the unemployment rate at now? So like,
I don't know. I know it's like I don't know what it is in our state, but I know it's nationwide. It's in the millions. And I know some of my friends who are actually getting unemployment. They're actually making more money with unemployment than they were when they're actually working their job.
yeah, because
So
they give out freaking extra $600. Ridiculous.
and then the stimulus checks that went out, people got those, and once I, it was crazy because once like I heard some of my friends got it, and they were like, oh, it's my check just came in, and I was like looking at my sales numbers, and that first week, I had a huge spike in people going on and buying like shoes and a bunch of stuff from me. So, um, yeah, it was pretty crazy, but a nice little jump.
It's definitely it's interesting. I don't agree with it. I mean, of course, my wife benefits from it being on unemployment currently at the moment, but I do not agree with it whatsoever. I mean, because it's so silly to be home and get extra money, but then like most business owners can't even collect unemployment. Like states give them the runaround for people, like construction jobs and stuff like that. And then you have people that are working in grocery stores and Walmarts that, are getting sick. Like there's a Walmart in Worcester near us. They have 40 something employees that tested positive for coronavirus.
Wow.
I mean, they're not getting anything extra, and just stuff like that, like nurses or doctors, I mean, doctors are making shitload of money anyway, but you're going to be working your ass off around the clock and put yourself in what technically is like a little bit of dangerous situations. I mean, if we don't want to be going to a store without a mask on, think about these people. So it's definitely, they're getting a little bit of the shaft, I guess.
Yeah. Looking through the comments here, see if there's any other questions from anybody. I see Pick a Goose joined us. What's up, man? It's been a while.
What's up, Jane?
Been flipping goods. Yeah, Mr. Shady, he's been around since day one.
He's been around a long time. We were talking about it actually the other day. Actually, I mean, it's definitely going to be an interesting time. Like this summer is going to be interesting, and then I guess it just follows up to like what happens in the fall. Like if this really does reoccur or kick back up again, it's definitely an interesting thing, and they're nowhere close to a vaccine for that now at the moment because I constantly now flipping stocks just to have some fun, and there's a bunch of coronavirus stocks and they fluctuate like the wind up and down every day.
Mm-hmm.
And when the market does good, like they're all down. The market does bad, they're all up. It's the little trend I've figured out.
Yeah, my financial advisor called me last week. She's like, it's a good time to buy right now. You got extra money you want to throw my way so I can help you out? I'm like, I'll think about it and do some more research first before I just send her a check.
There's definitely some interesting companies out there.
I see a couple of people in the comments said that the unemployment was around 30 million people have applied for it. I mean, I'm guessing not 30 million people have received it, but at least 30 million applications for it.
Yeah, I was trying to look for a specific, like percentage-wise. I think it's somewhere around 10% or in the low teens at the moment, I think. At least I couldn't find it. It would be like, because I think a lot of third world countries are in that like 30 to 40% unemployment rate, and that's where shit will get rough if that happens. There will be some issues because they just don't have enough money to freaking give everybody like that, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The dollar would be worthless. It'll be like $8,000 for a loaf of bread.
Yeah. So you got here, old pal is like, I'm selling my junk like hotcakes, and an abundance of estate sales are back open next week in Florida. It looks like you have to wear an N95 mask in order to go. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of stipulations on all that now. Like that's one thing that I'm waiting for from like our mall is just to tell us like, okay, these are the new rules. Like you can't have this many people in your store. Certain people got to wear masks. You got to disinfect things every so often. Like I'm just waiting to get like the guidelines from them on what they're going to be putting out for us. But just kind of waiting on that.
Like I know here in certain towns you'll actually get fined now $300 if you're not wearing a mask in public. It's kind of, you have, like a lot of the stores you have to wear. I haven't been actually in contact with anybody other than my wife like since this thing started like 6 weeks ago. She's like the only person I've come into contact with other than my mailman through the glass sliding door, like, hey, hi. With the UPS guy when he gave me my new phone, but that was about it. I have not. She's been going to the grocery store. She does not want me to get sick whatsoever. I guess I'm the baby if I get sick. She doesn't want to deal with that. She's always picking up groceries. Well, not always, but once a week picking up more groceries than we need. So I guess
Yeah, I pick up a few things here and there throughout the week just to make sure we just kind of keep stocked up just in case.
limit what we get and what we buy and stuff like that. But let me see. Thought I seen another message.
Yeah, the comments just keep jumping on me. I have to keep scrolling back down.
Are you concerned about eBay continues to have GMV deadline in us marketplace while almost every other site? What? I'm so lost with that comment.
Yeah, there's another one down here. Where'd it go?
Oh, I think they're talking about, are you concerned that eBay continues to have a decline in the marketplace while almost every other site grows? Basically is what they're trying to say, I think. I don't think eBay is declining at all. Maybe, I mean, of course, like newer sites are going to come in and going to take a little bit piece of the pie, but when you really look at the overall picture, Macari or Etsy or even Poshmark, they're still such a small percentage of what eBay does. eBay needs to connect more with the younger under 35 demographic is basically what they need to do. And there's probably ways they can do things to do that, but
Yeah, I know they've been doing some campaigns recently where they were trying to do like special deals on like sneakers, and they were like even for sellers like no selling fees if it sells for like over $300. Like they were doing a lot of stuff with like streetwear and just trying to get that younger crowd in because they saw like that StockX and Goat and Grail, Depop were all getting all these younger kids over there flipping all this stuff, and they're trying to draw more of that crowd over. And I've heard a lot more people starting to talk about going on eBay to get better deals, and especially for the sellers to sell their stuff too, if they can sell it high enough and get the final value fees waived.
yeah, eBay was definitely, I think it was $100 new sneakers in general. If they sold over 100, you got no seller fees, which is what demographic they're definitely going after with that one. They would compete because that's a huge marketplace now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I mean, like StockX and the other one there, Goat, is basically because of that marketplace. You have these new apps that popped up.
We got a comment here, Ronnie. It says, "Hi guys, in your opinion, what is the single best tip for scaling your business, such as hiring a virtual assistant, etc.?"
I'll let you answer this one first.
I actually looked into the virtual assistant thing for a little while before I hired my buddy to come and work for me. And it just didn't seem like it was something that I wanted to get into. I just had some trust issues with it. And I just started out with a friend of mine that I knew needed a job, and he needed something that was flexible with his schedule. He had some side projects going on. He was in a band and had gigs on the weekends, and he wanted to be able to have a flexible schedule that would just work to what he needed. And it worked out great for the two of us. He could come over to the warehouse and do whatever he needed when he needed to do it. I would just basically tell him like, okay, I expect you to get X, Y, and Z done this week, and then he would go in and do it. But I think that's a good way to do it. Just find somebody that that might need a job that has a flexible schedule, so they can come in and work on that for you. And then for the store, as far as scaling up for that, I wasn't putting all like we've said this before in this reselling YouTube thing, whatever you want to call it, and don't put all your eggs in one basket, and just try to keep everything diversified, especially during times like this, because if you're trying to sell a certain widget and it's just not moving, and that you're basing trying to do everything just off of that one thing and it just tanks, then you're in trouble. But if you have a bunch of different things that you're kind of spread out, and it's just much better for your your business and to grow and to have a safety net when things like this happen.
Yeah, I'm not too keen of the virtual assistants and stuff like that. I mean, I always feel like I don't know. I mean, it's to each his own. If that's feels like it fits your game plan or not. But I mean, probably if you're looking for one thing that's always did well for me is just making sure I pick better items. And I'll go to more stores instead of just going to one or two stores. But I do know that benefits from having more time. Not everybody has time, or not everybody lives in an area where they can visit multiple stores on one day. So it's growth is just finding time and scheduling time. Because I think also like a big thing is just time management. It's a big thing for a lot of people. But got another question here. Is eBay is basically growing their net income by extracting more money from sellers through promoted listings and when managed payments, and not by sale increase. Okay, I don't. That's the question.
I was reading that one too. It's
I thought it was.
kind of jumping a little fast.
I get halfway through the question. I'm like, wait, hold on. Offer up, and like let go does not work in my area. Neither does Craigslist. Like Facebook is actually pretty good, but I notice almost everybody on Facebook is also the same people selling the same item on eBay. They just cross promote, it seems like, or cross list, whatever the people are calling it these days.
Yeah, what the kids are calling it, I don't know. I know there was this one website, I can't remember, it was called List Perfectly, and there's a website thing, is I think it's in beta or something right now, to where it was like a server thing that would help you like cross post your listings from eBay to Poshmark. Because I had a buddy of mine tell me that I should get on Poshmark and get that service and stuff like that. And it's a paid service. There's like a free trial that you can do, but the more you pay a month, the more like control they let you have, and the quicker you can like switch everything over. But I haven't seen enough evidence yet to warrant spending the time or paying um, my guy to go through and basically cross post everything. And I think a lot of times when you do that, you kind of put yourself in a position where you can have mistakes, and you'll sell one thing on one platform and you forget to take it down, or the system doesn't update right and it doesn't take it down, and then you sell it again on the other platform, and then you just run into more problems, have to cancel orders, and it's not worth it.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if Tommy's still in the chat. He uses List Perfectly, and he's had some success with it. I've thought about it, but I just haven't done it just because my stuff sells for the most part fairly quickly on eBay. I have more control over it. It's easy for me just to have one site and deal with everything and just kind of, worry about it over there. But I just, it's what I like. I just noticed I sold something. So I guess people can still buy things maybe from me, but it's just maybe if they have the item like bookmarked or something like that, or watched on their watch list, maybe they can find it, because you can't find it by searching for it. I did that.
Yep.
I searched for my listings earlier, and I couldn't find it. I was like, yo, mother. But
Did you get Bonanza at all?
I did back in the day, but it was I didn't like that site. I didn't like it at all.
Well, I use it now, and I started using it like a year ago or something like that, and it was really cool because it actually uploaded all of my eBay and Amazon inventory into their platform, and it constantly updates. And when one item sells, like if it sells on there, it'll take it off of eBay, or it'll take my inventory list down on Amazon. So it actually was working pretty good. I don't sell a lot on there. It's a few things each month, but um, it basically works in the background, and it took me like 15, 20 minutes to set it up. And then I downloaded the app so I could get the notifications on my phone when stuff sells, and it just kind of working in the background for me and a few things here and there, and it just helps clear it out, and it takes them down when they sell, so I don't have to go back and look things up.
That's pretty cool. I know when I used to do it, because I was like one of these people that used to have my listings run in like 10-day intervals, 10 days and then relist, and 10 days and relist. I'd have multiples sometimes on what do you call it? On that website, Bonanza. And it was driving me crazy.
Oh, okay.
And then like I think I sold like like not a huge amount of things. It was like 5 items, and 3 of them wind up getting returned. And I was like, oh hell no, we're not going here with this website. Like this percentage is unacceptable. I don't know what happened, but it was like over stupid things too. Like somebody said I gave them the wrong. It was one of those Texas Instruments graphing calculators, and it was like the cheaper one, the 84 or something, or 83, and they were like, oh, you gave me the wrong calculator. I bought the 85. And I'm like looking at the listing going, no, it says what you exactly got, buddy.
Exactly. The excuses that some of these people come up with are pretty pathetic.
And something else was like over the color or something. It was like an off-white, and they were like, I thought I was buying, I think they thought the brand. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, seriously. I was like, come on, man. Stop messing with me.
Not good. Trying to see if there's any other. If anybody else has got any other questions, feel free to drop them below. This has been fun to get back in here and talk with people again. You should do this all the time. Me and Nate used to have our clothing chat show and stuff like that we did. I think it was like every Wednesday night or something like that. We did that for a while, and I do miss it. It was a lot of fun.
It definitely was. I mean, I did a few different shows with different people, and we've talked about possibly getting them going again, but it's finding the time and trying to be consistent, which becomes a struggle, because then you automatically every Friday or every Tuesday or every whatever day it is, you have to be there. You know, it almost, and you feel like if you don't do it, then you let down your subscribers, or you let down, other people that do the show with you. You're not there. Like we did a show a few years ago. It was called the Six Pack Show, and there was like 10 of us that would rotate on this show. It was every Sunday night. I felt bad that I could never show up. It was Sunday night. It was just like terrible time for me. Like it was just did not work out well.
Yeah, I wish I would have stuck with it, but I just got so busy with everything and trying to scale up my business. But it is something I do regret that I didn't keep going. So if anybody that was a diehard fan of retro retail back in the day, I apologize for us not continuing to do our videos. Life happened.
It definitely became of like it definitely becomes like almost like a second job in a way, trying to make the videos. And then I tried editing videos and stuff like that, and just trying to do that. It takes time, and it's not like I'm over here making boatload of freaking money making videos. It's like I do it because I enjoy it. It's not for the money whatsoever, or I would try a lot harder.
Yeah, I know. Like if anybody wants to know, I still am on YouTube. I have a hockey channel. It's called Puck My Life. Just a little subtle plug there. But just even finding time to do those videos for my game experience reviews has been kind of difficult. Even in quarantine, where I have all this extra time, like I still find stuff to keep myself busy, but yet I can't even do that. So it was definitely a struggle then, and it still is a struggle now to try to shoot a video, edit it, put it up. But I'm doing the best I can with what I have.
I almost feel like starting another channel and just you have like one of those put a mask on and just do like a once a week thing. I'd probably do better than I do. Every Tuesday we're gonna have every Tuesday at this time. Watch. Somebody did have a question here. What do you think is going to be the biggest clothing trend this year?
Well, as far as sorry about that. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just like, I'm kind of out of the loop on that one right there.
Okay. So it's kind of cool with owning a store and having a lot of the younger kids come in to see what they're looking for. Ask them, hey, what are you guys into? Like, what's something you guys would like to see us carry in the store? I do a lot of like market research with my Instagram followers just to see, I'll ask questions on there like, hey, what kind of stuff would you guys like to see in store? And I'll get all this different stuff. Like people are like, oh, I want more Yeezys and I want Off White. I think some of those hype brands like Supreme is kind of dying out a little bit. There's a few that are still doing okay. As far as like the vintage goes, that's mainly what we do at the store. We've noticed that movie T-shirts from like the early 2000s, 90s, anything older than the early 2000s is doing really well. Like even some, it sucks because like some of the shirts that I've seen that I've had over the years, like even back like 5 years ago, is going for like a quarter of what it is going for today. Um, those are going well. Wrap tees are doing really well. Band tees have always been a stable thing. I know, Ronnie, you've picked up quite a few of those in the past. You've had some really killer ones. And then also anything that's an all over print t shirt, those seem to be doing well. And promo t shirts. Like for some reason, like food promo t shirts from like the 90s and 80s are doing really well. Like I saw one the other day. It was like a diet cherry Coke T-shirt and it had this like big dude's head on it. It was a really weird, creepy looking shirt. I think somebody sold it for like $250.
Holy shit.
So it's just weird. There's a guy on Instagram that I follow. He's the Heat Broker, and he puts some of the insane pieces that I've never seen. I've been doing this for 10 years, and some of the pieces that he comes across through his network and everything, it's just insane. I mean, he's got T-shirts that there's like this one he has. It's remember the Virtual Boy, the Nintendo Virtual Boy,
Yeah, I
where
do.
like that red thing you like stick your eyes in, you basically burn out your eyes after like 3 minutes of playing Mario Tennis on it. That was, oh man, that was awful. But anyway, that shirt he's got is all over print shirt and it's like extremely rare. It's like $1,000 shirt. But it's just crazy stuff like that that I've never even seen before. But yeah, that's a lot of things that I see that are trending right now and that I think that are still growing. Like I'll just add one more thing here. I have a shirt that it's actually in my closet. It's remember Cheezosaurus Rex from used to be the advertising guy for the Kraft macaroni and cheese,
Oh,
the
okay, yeah.
dinosaur guy or whatever. And so like that shirt, like I bought it like last year for like $25. But then these promo shirts started going up. And the other day, one sold for $95 plus shipping. And like on eBay right now, I think the cheapest one is like 70, 75. Like in just like less than a year, that shirt has like tripled its value. Like I picked up two of them for like $20. I gave one to a buddy, and then I have one in my closet. And it's a lot of that stuff is changing so much. So sometimes it's hard to keep up with it, but I will say is having a store has made it a lot easier in knowing what stuff is trending.
Yeah, biggest trend this year is going to be used clothing. Going to be used clothing of all kinds. People ain't going to have money. People
Exactly.
looking for deals and steals. But what else here? Auction professor, I guess, advises all his watchers to get out of the clothing game. Do you two agree? I'm not really 100% sure who that is, but I do not agree because that's 90% of what I sell, and we do easily about $100,000 a year consistently selling on eBay. Gross sales, and plus other things, but easily do that on eBay, and I don't even try really. There's months I take off, like especially over the summer. So, like this year, I'm gonna not take off the summer. I'm kind of taking off now, I guess. Like I'm getting a shipment tomorrow of like 40 shirts, so I'm actually excited. I thought they were gonna come today. I was stalking the mailman, and I noticed when he came to my house with nothing, I was like, oh, gotta wait another day. I was only coming from Pennsylvania, so I thought it was gonna be quicker. I was like, yo,
Yeah.
let's go. I need inventory.
Yeah, I think with that, with somebody saying that to get out of the clothing game, it's evolving. It's ever changing. One thing is going to be hot, and then it's going to die off. I mean, like when you and I first started, I mean, I can't imagine how many guest striped T-shirts that I probably passed up on at the thrift because they weren't going for anything. And now, like I've sold them for 100, 150 bucks. So things change. You just got to try to stay ahead of the curve if you can. But that's something that I think is always going to be there. And I think, like what you said, Ronnie, more people this year are going to buy used. They're going to try to, recycle pieces and not go out and just, buy from these companies. And more of these companies are going to start to dwindle off, as we saw in the chat. I think people listed off like 5 or 6 clothing retailers that have closed or are in the process of possibly closing in the future, near future.
You okay? Okay. Oh, my wife's over there. She's looking like I don't know what she's looking at. But it's just fun. I mean, there's money in it. There's always gonna be money in it. People are always gonna want to buy used clothing. Like there may I mean, people were talking about when Rake and Profit released all these guides on what to buy. Like clothing's dead. Like you guys aren't gonna be able to make money in clothing again. Yo, we still here, motherfucker. We still here.
Certain stuff died. I mean, like Tommy Bahama, for example. I used to get like 40, 50 bucks a shirt. Now I can't sell them for like $10 to $15 shipped. It's like, really? Come on.
Well, like I think certain brands, though, in general, there's just like Tommy Bahama is like Ralph Lauren. You go on there, there's like literally so many silk shirts on there that it's just there's too many. But like there's like everybody will say like brands, but it's no different. Like we just talked about like Supreme kind of dying down a little bit. The same thing happens with other clothes, like Robert Graham. Nobody's wearing the flip cuff club looking shirts anymore, and all those little sub brands that were off of that, like English Laundry, Bugatti La Umo. There was some others like Raw. Those shirts don't sell anywhere near what they used to, and I think that just whole group of shirts, that style, just don't sell anymore. Nat Nash was another silk style shirt, but that was big due to it was worn in The Sopranos, and it was also worn in was it 3.5? No, 2.5 Men by Charlie Sheen. So they were big shows. People want to wear what they see, and then when those shows die off, the shirts don't have really the interest that they did before.
Mm-hmm.
That happens with a lot of other clothing too. It just comes and goes. Styles change. Like women's clothes change, so do men's clothes. Unfortunately, certain styles and certain things. Like 10 years ago, nobody. I mean, well, yeah, there was a market for like these vintage concert shirts, but like you were talking, the rap ones have really went like batshit crazy the last few years.
Yep.
And I'm like, I constantly like looking for them. I want to come like across a Mob Deep one, or Noriega or something, back from when I was a kid. Like I don't even care if it's my size or not. I'm keeping it probably.
Yeah, I've come across a few at my local thrifts. I had a Tupac 1996 Tupac one that we actually ended up selling in the store for like between 250 and 300. So I mean, I come across them every once in a while, a couple of years. Not nothing that it's nothing too crazy, but it really does get you hyped when you do find one, though.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, what comes and what goes, and you kind of have to pay attention and focus and see. I'm one of those people, if I buy something and I notice it's taking me 3 to 6 months to sell something before it was selling within a month, then I kind of know like, well, that market may be slowing down a little bit. I may not pick it up as much, or I may not pick it up if it's a higher price, or the pattern's not that great. It has a interesting pattern. Like somebody was talking about Tommy Hilfiger and Polo for the most part are dead, and they killed themselves kind of like re-releasing everything over the last year. A lot of their stuff that was really high, they released like the whole freaking stadium collect or stadium series or stadium collection or whatever it was from '92.
Snow Beach stuff re-release, and that had a really high retail too. I think some of those pieces were starting off at like $600 for some of them.
They had them it was 2 years ago now, maybe, or a year and a half ago now, because my birthday's in October. We were in the mall and they still had that collection at Macy's, and they had it on like clearance. They could not move them. But we're in an area where once you're out of season, we don't get a lot of foot traffic at our mall. Our mall is a ghost town if you're there basically 8 months a year. Like nothing goes on there. Summertime, yeah, but the rest of the time, especially like winter, quiet.
Yeah.
I don't even go there. I go to one area mall to go to like the Best Buy. There's a Marshalls and there's the food court to get some pizza. That's about it. The rest of the I don't even touch it.
I think what Polo was trying to do there was kind of a last ditch effort for them to try to kind of rebuild the brand a little bit and kind of bring back some of that nostalgia, and then also rope in some of the younger crowd that wanted some of these pieces from the '90s but didn't want to spend $1,000 for a Snow Beach jacket, to try to kind of reach out to a different group. But I don't think it really worked out the way that they had planned, because even at my outlet store, I saw some pieces end up there, and it was clearance out, like you said. So it's unfortunate, but I think they're kind of on their way out.
Yeah, and they kind of made it like some of the bear stuff was just really funky looking. It didn't.
It was crap.
Like they had that cartoonish looking bear, and it just was like, what is that thing? They're putting in like a Fair Isle sweater and having a bear on it. It was just like, no, don't do that. You're killing, like, it's like just crossing and making things look ugly. A lot of that stuff got pushed down into Marshalls and TJ Maxx. Like it was all over the place this past year. All over the place. They couldn't get rid of it. This stuff was getting yellow tag clearanced out. I'm still not buying it because it wasn't even selling that well on eBay.
Yep, exactly. I do want to say thanks to those who are the hockey fans in the comments. I see a few you guys are heading over to my Puck My Life channel, and so I definitely appreciate that. So that's cool. So I had to do something. It's more or less a stress reliever for me. I love to travel. I've been to like 15 different arenas in the U.S. and Canada. And it's cool because like with the job that I have, I can do a lot of different shopping in different states and places that I don't normally get a chance to go to. So I'm able to still work while I'm on the road. So it's a fun journey. I love it.
I wanted to go visit every baseball stadium. That was like a goal. I love baseball. I kind of got away for it for a little bit, like in fantasy baseball the last few years with a bunch of other resellers, and it really got me back into it, I guess, like following it, and kind of I got out of it a little bit just because when you start full-time reselling, it seems like you just push everything out of your way when you're trying to focus on it. It's just like everything becomes like secondary. You don't care about nothing. Like football, I almost don't give two shits about football anymore. For the most part, it's like, it's just not the same when we were kids watching football in the '90s, or even when I played it in high school. It was so much different.
Oh
now, it's flag football basically. Touch the guy the wrong way. Got it. And the quarterbacks still get hurt. Like they always still get hurt. Well, they get hit, one hit, and then down. Like they got shot in the leg or something. Like, you okay?
Yeah. Wow. You watch soccer and they're like getting, the guy like blows on them and they just like fall over and like their leg is like broken and they're just like all screaming. It's like the guy didn't even touch him.
It's just, man, it's crazy. I'm gonna link your channel after. I forgot to do. Actually, I wasn't sure if you were. I meant to ask you that earlier before the show, and I just never got around to it. Link your channel.
Oh, okay.
I'll do it after.
Gotcha.
In case there's any hockey fans that want to help support your channel and watch, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram too. If you guys, same on there, Puck My Life on Instagram. Then I also have my store that I have. It's Rewind MI. So if you guys want to see the store that I have, that's on there. Address, everything. And so yeah, it's kind of fun. I like doing it. It was a big undertaking to do that, but it was a great learning experience. So I'm glad that I did it.
See here, see if there's any other questions.
Yeah, I like lost the comments for a minute, and then it took me a second to get back in there.
Sometimes when you pop out that chat and you switch from a different window or something, you'll lose it. And I'm like, where'd it go? I gotta close all the or minimize the window and then put it back.
Yeah,
I'm like, where'd it go? Where'd it go?
keep jumping on me.
But it's definitely. I mean, you're in. I don't know. I unfortunately, I mean, don't hate me for it, but I could never get into hockey. When we were kids, we went to a few hockey games at what was it, Nassau Coliseum. I think that's where the Islanders played. We were seeing a few games there when we were kids, but I just could never get into it. I remember one year my mom bought me a Mark Messier. We were still in high school. Mark Messier Rangers jersey because he played for the Rangers that one year. I think I was in the 11th grade.
Gotcha.
I wore
Yeah.
it out of that too.
I like going to the NHL, but one thing I've really been getting into a lot lately is the OHL. So that's the Ontario Hockey League. I don't know if you've heard of them at all.
No.
So they have, so it's part of the CHL, which is the Canadian Hockey League, and they have three different like divisions or league of that. So they have the OHL, which is Ontario Hockey League. They have the WHL, which is the Western Hockey League. Then they have the QMJHL, which is the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. So that's like north of you, like Maine, Newfoundland, and stuff like that. But it's like the junior team where it's like kids from like 16, 17 up to like 20, 21. And those games are so entertaining. Those kids like hate each other and there's fights all the time. And because, I mean, these kids are fighting to get on a pro team and get scouted. And they're just working really hard. And the tickets are super cheap. They're like 15 to 20 bucks to go to a game. And I have two teams that are like a half-hour drive from me. I have the Saginaw Spirit and the Flint Firebirds, and I go to those games all the time, and it's a great experience.
That's pretty cool.
It just keeps jumping on me, and I have to like scroll back down. Okay, I'm back now.
Yeah, it's definitely. I don't know. There's a lot of different things you just fall in love with for whatever reason. It's like, I mean, like when we used to live in Oneonta in upstate New York, we used to watch a lot of Oneonta Yankee baseball games. They were like a single A, low level single A team. They had like was it part of the Penn State League or whatever it was called? No, not Penn League maybe.
Okay.
I don't know exactly, but I know it's not. They used to be the Oneonta Yankees. Now it's I think a Detroit minor league team. If they still play there, I don't even know if they still have that league. Because I know they had like the Gulf Coast League. It was like the same thing, like where they come in late into the season. And then like here they like Cape Cod Baseball League, but they canceled that actually this year.
Interesting.
The virus thing. They canceled that, and they canceled our state fair, which is always in a neighboring town in like late January. No, I mean late January, late July or early August. They already canceled that. So I mean they canceled everything this summer, basically.
Yeah, it's all shutting down. I think Don just asked, "What do y'all think of the San Jose Sharks?"
Nothing to think about him.
I like Eric Carlson. It was sad to see him go from the Senators over to the Sharks. Hopefully, he's still got a few good years left. But I'm not necessarily a Sharks fan. I'm a Calgary Flames fan. So, but the Sharks, they're okay.
Brian Oak Picker was talking about the Soccer Hall of Fame was actually in Oneonta, New York. It was on Main Street. They had a brick building. I never went there. And then they built like a whole new Hall of Fame. It was only there for years, and then they moved it. I think it's in one of the. I think it's in Houston now at whatever the Houston soccer team is. I think it's inside the stadium. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah.
So go ahead.
I was just going to reply to Dapper Tiger. The Barnstable State Fair is not happening this year. They canceled that thing.
So one thing I wanted to ask you, Ronnie, is that how have you been doing during this slow time? Like as far as like, were you able to get completely through your death pile, or you still like got a bunch of stuff left for this? Because I figured a lot of people were kind of not necessarily happy that everything closed up, but those that had a huge death pile, like, oh man, I can finally get through this now. I have something to do for a little bit and actually catch up for once.
I didn't have a death pile, so I was kind of like, I went on eBay and I was just buying stuff left and right. And then I think a lot of other people started doing that too. I was buying stuff on auction and, found a seller that was selling some stuff. And then there's some guy that bought some stuff from us that was looking to get rid of some stuff. So I got some stuff from him fairly at a decent price. I was paying up for certain things, but I was paying like $35 a suit or sport coat. But then again, I turned around and sold two of them real quick for like $300 too. So, you're paying up a little bit more, but they're selling too. So it's always a good thing. But
yeah, that's good. I was just wondering how you were able to handle that, with this slow time. I like don't really. I had a decent sized death pile, so it was kind of nice to finally get caught up. And then if I get really desperate, I could start going over to the store and bringing stuff over to list. But I haven't got anywhere near that point because I'm still not caught up yet. I still have boxes in storage that I have yet to go through. So it's been okay for us. It's been weird. For the first time in like 10 years, I haven't been shopping, for my business. Like even on vacation, like I would look for like where's the Nike store, where's the thrift stores. Like I'd have to go and do something. So it's been really weird. Like days I'll wake up and I'll be like, okay, where am I going shopping today? I'm like, wait a minute, I can't go anywhere. Like my brain is still like thinking that I can go shopping that day, and it's like, nope, I gotta stay home.
it's tax write-off, baby. Is how I go everywhere. We wherever we go, and when my wife we were working for JetBlue, we could fly for free, and we wanted to start going to a bunch of different cities for like the weekend and go shopping, see what all different cities had to offer. Because I know there's people in the chats being like, well, you live in a certain area that you can source better stuff. So okay, I'll fly to other cities and see what they got. I'll fly to St. Louis. I'll hang out with Mr. Bubba. He could take me around to his spots down in St. Louis, and as long as we don't get the car stolen, probably be okay.
There you go.
A Glock and a vest down there, probably though.
At least.
Find you something down there.
Have you? This is something I asked a buddy of mine the other day, but like with everything that's happened, do you feel like you're going to treat your business different now that when things open up? Like, do you feel like that this has made you look at things in a different perspective, to where like if something like this were to happen again, that you're going to be more prepared if something happens again?
I think that was like the whole thing leading up into getting like an office space or a warehouse again, was that at a space like that, I can have a backlog of stuff. And I can't really do that where I am. We have a 900 square foot condo we live in, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo, and everything is here. So it's really hard to have a backlog of stuff. There's not really a huge area. So kind of, I get it, list it, repeat and just do it again. I think if I had a space, I would be more lenient with doing things. I maybe would put things off. Like if I was picking up winter items, maybe right now, maybe I'd put those off for a few months, knowing maybe I'll list those in August, and hold off on those. Or unless there was something really good. I mean, it just depends. Because I've never did that thought. I list when I buy, and you know, you pick out the better stuff most of the time to list first, and blah blah blah. So I don't know if I would ever do that, but it's always crossed my mind that I could do stuff like that. I'd criticize people that would do that, be like, oh, I'm holding all my jackets till August. And I'm like, they can sell between now and August. Like, what do you mean? But, I'm not in that position either. And some people only list, like, they are guaranteed, like, they don't want to list over 500 things, and that's it. 500 things listing, they'll shop all the time. Like, what's the name? Shit. They have the podcast. Scavenger Life. Okay. And they have like 2 storage units or 3 storage units or something full with stuff not listed. It's like that has to be insane to think like that. They could stop for a few years probably and be good to go.
Yeah, I don't understand it to that extreme. I'm not trying to say anything bad about what they're doing, but like I've noticed, like from my own way of doing things, I used to do some of that, like put some stuff, in storage or whatever, and wait till a rainy day. But by the time I got to it, some of that stuff wasn't worth nearly what it was when I got it. Like the market was hot when I got it, and I put it in storage thinking, oh, it's going to be the same or go up over time. And some of that stuff just tanked, and now it's like, well, nothing I can do about it now.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely one of those things. Like, I don't know if I could ever go to that extreme. Like we have a 10 by 30 storage shed, and it seems to be a catch-all. And I have a lot of stuff that we sell on like Facebook gets stored there. But like with the winter, I stop most of that stuff. Is I get a few pallets of returns from Chewy, and they're all over the place, and they're all pet and dog, like ramps to get into beds and trucks and stuff like that, and some other things. Once the gets a little bit warmer, hopefully I'll start to try to get rid of those again, because a lot of that stuff has to go to the Dominican Republic in there. There's like a catch-all. A lot of it has to go to our apartment there now that we have, and start setting that up and everything, because it's just we were gonna have stuff done, but with this even happening, we just had the apartment finished. We were gonna get a few different extra things done. Now we're waiting to get things done. Nothing can get done anywhere. Like last time I checked there, it was peaking there too. They had like every day was worse than the other for like, it's been a week I think since I checked, but they weren't doing much better than we were. They were just at a like incline, like every day up. So I think that they closed everything to like the end of May. I think it's like a total shutdown. They not accepting any flights, cruise ships, anything.
It's good. It's going to take a while to recover from this for sure. Somebody in the comments, if they think you guys think the post office will close. I don't think so. I don't see how they could, because so many people rely on that for medical things and other stuff that I don't think that they could really shut it down.
I don't think they'll ever close. I think there's always, every year it seems to be this whole, I mean, for as long as I can remember, even before reselling, like where I was really big into reselling, the United States Postal Service always seemed to be having some type of issue or something with funding or with rates. And it's always going to be that way. They're never going to go anywhere, because it's like those services that even though if it loses money, they're still going to be there running their service, because it's and any way that people get mail these days, or unless everybody goes paperless, UPS, FedEx, they're not going to be dropping off your cable bill anytime soon.
Yeah.
You know? So as long as they're in business, they're gonna. I mean, they're always gonna be in business. I think you always just see these things where it's like, oh, they're closing, and it's like, no, they're not going anywhere. It's just I swear to God, they recirculate the whole damn thing every year and just put a new date on it and just go at it. Whenever they go up for funding or something for the year, because what is it, the House of Representatives or Congress, one of them, or the Senate is in charge of that, and it just seems like every year they go through the same BS.
Yeah.
But it's coming up on close to 2 hours, and I'm getting a little deep. These shows are a little hard to do.
They're fun though. I really enjoy.
No, I enjoy doing it, but I think after like hour and a half,
Yeah.
I think it's my desk setup. My desk setup is actually a folding table, and that's what we got. And my chair is not the most comfortable. I bought a new chair a few months ago, and it's really not the. It's like when you buy a chair in the store, you think it's cool, and then you get it home and you're in it for a few hours. You're
like, is this really what I bought?
Damn it, I knew I should have stayed with what I got before. Why did I try to upgrade? Because there was a little bit more money. I think it's going to be a little bit better. That still sucks.
I do appreciate everybody who's still hanging out with us right now. So, if anybody else got any other questions? I don't think Ronnie's he's getting close to his bedtime. So,
what's up?
Anybody got any questions?
What's up, Mr. Square Deal guy? What's going on?
I remember him.
Him in a long time. But yeah, it's crazy, just everything. I wish I could do a iNAD on the chair, but I got it at Staples. Oh well, Staples not even open. I'd probably buy another chair. By the chair I used to have. I'll find a place to stick this chair in the house.
Yeah, we'll have to do this again sometime, Ronnie.
Yeah,
I mean, I got time, so.
Everybody got time right now. I remember when this happened, I told my wife, I'm going to do a quarantine hangout every night, bring somebody else on, and all of a sudden, like, a few days got into it. I'm like, I don't want to do it. I don't know why. I just fully got over that part. I think since the quarantine, I have made less videos just because it's like if I noticed when I commented on like having sales, some people were upset with me. Like they're like, people are losing work and you're over here showing off your sales and I'm not having any sales. I'm like, oh hell no, no. You just didn't do that to me. I was like, it's not like that. Just showing like I usually do. I think people are just a little bit more sensitive to things around this. I don't know. Just people get upset about certain things. I mean, that's the thing about YouTube. People behind a username, and you don't have any idea who the hell they are half the time.
Hooked on the Tiger King instead of doing your YouTube
videos. Tiger King trading coming soon.
Oh goodness, I still have not watched it yet.
Yo, it is like the first, like I think it's broke up into like 8 episodes or something like that. The first 4 were interesting. Like it was just weird. Like you were just like, oh wow, there's people really like this. And then the last 4 got really dark, kind of in a way. It was just like the high and then the freaking come down of everything, and you're like, oh shit. Who knew? I wish I knew I could get a freaking baby tiger for $2,000 though. I would have had one 10 years ago.
Jeez.
I would have. Ronnie's Big Cat Rescue.
There you go. Yeah, Picker Goose says he said I live like 10 minutes from Big Cat Rescue.
That place is interesting. That was the one lady that killed her husband supposedly. Fed him to a tiger.
Here we got a question, Ronnie. Have you ever taken a clothing item with a warranty that you bought used and got it fixed for free or a replacement?
Tell you a story. When the first time I realized I could do that, I had a North Face jacket, and the buttons were all messed up on it. So I sent it back to North Face. They sent me a thing basically telling me the jacket was not real. I was like, oh, okay, nice to know. Not getting that jacket back. So I did get a gift card for a certain amount. But it wasn't a lot, like $50 or something, $30.
Better than nothing.
Yeah, it was kind of like, oh, I paid for the jacket. I didn't pay much for the jacket too. It was like $5 at a yard sale. And I knew the buttons were messed up when I got it. But I was like, oh, I think there's some type of like warranty thing. I'm gonna check that out. And I meant to make a video about it and everything, and I just one of those things you mail it out and you're like, oh shit, I was gonna show that and show the process about it, but you just move on, forget things. Sometimes thinks about doing something that it doesn't react.
Yeah, I was gonna do that with a couple Patagonia pieces I still have, and I just haven't got around to doing it. They're in a box in storage somewhere. It was like a sweater I had that had like a rip in it or something like that, but it was still new with tags. So I was gonna send it in and see what they do for it, but I just haven't got around to it yet.
You know what I was crazy about? I've gotten 2 of these in the past like year. Freaking Patagonia cashmere sweater. Those things sell for freaking huge money.
Yeah, I found just a couple. I haven't found one in a while, but yeah, you're right.
Like 150 or a little bit more for the one. I was just like, holy shit. I was like, who knew? Freaking Patagonia cashmere sweater be selling. You know, I knew I'd pick it up because it's Patagonia. Like certain things I'll just pick up, but I was kind of shocked when I seen what they were selling for. Like, oh, they like that feel.
I guess.
But any last word before we move on down the road?
Just thanks for having me on. I know we've been trying to get together and do something like this for a while, and we were finally able to connect. It's really cool to jump back on here and see some familiar names pop up on the screen, and I appreciate everybody who jumped in tonight to listen to us kind of chat about whatever, basically. And I hope everybody stays safe out there, and that everybody makes it through, and that we're, after this is all over, that we all can recover from this and take steps forward to just build our businesses and be more self-sufficient.
Yeah, I'll agree with you basically on all that. Like somebody was just mentioning, when is Boston going to open up? Right now it's May 18th, but they're probably going to push it back because they're still peaking here. So it's going to be a while. And then especially like Worcester's the new hotspot now. So like in our area, or not our area, but in Massachusetts. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this plays out for us. We'll probably be one of the last states to open back up at this rate. It's probably going to be the end of May, earliest.
Okay.
I'm ready to get back. Other states will be open near us, so I can pop in and out to 5 other states within an hour drive. So I'll get back to work eventually. But hey, summer will be here before we know it. Yard sales, hopefully, estate sales, all that good stuff.
Yeah, can't wait.
Appreciate everybody for turning out tonight. A lot of familiar faces, a lot of old faces I haven't seen in a little while either. I love it. I love seeing the older people. When you see them, you're like, hey, I remember that person. Where they've been hiding. But nice to see you guys. I'll have the links for Taylor's stuff down below after I finish this video. But see you guys later. Have a good day.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.